one of the most important dancers in the era of, or let me say, the golden era, and she did a lot of wonderful performance in this time long ago. She created and she did a wonderful dance steps, and she was very famous in this time, was one of the top dancers in this time. Her name is Naima Akef. Naima Akef, she was born in Tanta, and by the way, Tanta is one of the main cities in Delta. So she was born in Tanta around 1929, long ago, of course. And she was from a circus family. Her father was working in a circus in this time, long ago. She and her sisters, they worked already also with their father in this circus long time. In the beginning, her father wanted to let her study dancing, but she refused. Then he started with her sister, and her sister did a lot of wonderful dance steps, of course, and a lot of performance in the circus. Then she agreed after that, after she became jealous from her sister, and she started to study dancing. In this time, she had around 6 years old or something like that, was very, very young. So she started study this type of art and started to dance in circus with her sister. But after a while, she asked her father for a salary. Her father refused in the beginning and hit her for this. So she escaped from the house for about maybe a few hours until some friends, they found her in the street and they asked her to come back again to her family. When she came back again, her father agreed to give her a salary for what she is doing on the stage. She started after that dancing and do some steps, but of course I will tell you near to the end or in the end what type of performance she did. But they said in her story that she studied dancing and she was dancing on the stage with her family in this circus. And of course in Tanta is very famous, or still famous of course, with the Moulid. And this Moulid I will tell you about it, but step by step. So she danced with them for a while until suddenly her father and mother divorced. Her mother took the girls, her sisters and her, and they went to Cairo. They lived in Muhammad Ali Street, near to El Awalim Lane. Of course, she is not so far. For this reason, someone saw her and they asked her mother that the girls can go working in one of the famous theaters around Azbakiya garden in this time. They worked over there, they started to dance in this theater for a while until someone saw her, asked her to go and meet Badia Massabni. She met Badia Massabni and Badia asked her to dance in her casino. So she started to dance in her casino for a while until an Egyptian director saw her, found her wonderful for some parts in his movie he will film sooner or later in this time. So he asked her to dance in this movie. She agreed in the end and she started to dance in this movie, or she danced in this movie. Step by step she became famous all over Egypt. A lot of parties, special parties, wedding parties, people asking her to dance with them or onto their parties, something like this, and it was wonderful for her. She started to be very famous all over Egypt. Until another Egyptian director saw her, he fell in love with her, then he asked to marry her. This time was the best time for her, or starting the luck start, or the life start to smile and love for her.
لفينا الدنيا بحالها يمينها شمالها تبع لفات عدينا بحور وجبال وصحار ويا ما عرفنا حاجات غنينا كمان ورقصنا في كل مكان وبست لغات.
She married this director and they have been together for about 10 years. In these 10 years, she filmed or she worked in around maybe 10 or no, much more films, Egyptian films, dancing in these films. And she became much more famous. Then, after 10 years, her husband became much more jealous onto her, and suddenly a lot of problems started to appear until they divorced. Then she came back again alone. She did a lot of movies after that, maybe 2 or 3 movies, until she found something strange to her body. She felt pain in her body or something like this. She asked her friends and her family that she wants to go outside Egypt in somewhere, I think Switzerland or something like that, in somewhere in Europe, to check up, to make a checkup, to see exactly what's going on to her body. Her body was hurting her, feel pain. Over there, I think Switzerland, or I don't remember actually, but in this area anyway, one of the European countries, they told her that she infected or she got cancer. She had a cancer. So what can she do? Nothing. They tried to do some things for her, to help her, to cure for her or something like that. But in the end, nothing going on well or something like that. She came back again to Egypt, and after 2 years or 3 years, before, she married from another one. And after 2 or 3 years, actually, she started to feel much more pain until one day, one of the last films for her, she felt too much pain, so she went to the hospital, and in the end, she passed away in this hospital. And this time, she had around 37 years old. So she died very young. This is quickly the story of her, which I love to share with you. But there are 2 points now I wanted to tell you about it. One bring the other, and I mean one point will bring the other. One of her movies, which I love very much, the name of this movie called Tamer Henna. The same as the music, exactly, Tamer Henna music. I love this music very much. I think 99% of you hear this music. A lot of you danced in this music, of course, and this music is perfect. This music, the composer of this music was Mohammed Fawzi, the great Mohammed Fawzi, and he did it wonderful. He composed it wonderful. I love it very much. The story of this movie, very important for me, was very important and still very important for me. I think when you will understand what it is, you will love it same as me too. The first time I saw this movie was, of course, in a TV in Egypt, and I was young, of course, but not this time. This time was very old time. But this movie, the first time I saw this movie, I started to feel that I'm one of these actors in this movie. I will tell you the story, which is very important, and why it is important for me now and before, of course. The story about a rich boy, or a boy coming from a rich family. One day he was in a street in El Moulid. He went to El Moulid. And by the way, now, El Moulid, this is the second point I wanted to tell you about. El Moulid, this is the birth of someone, but belongs to a religious. So we call it Mawlid. And this Mawlid is a type of a festival, belongs to the 90% of Egyptian people, but let me tell you, especially for ordinary people or a public people. So this is a public, we can say a public festival, but belongs to religious, as I told you. So he went to El Mawlid. Maybe, yes, maybe, not maybe, I will do, actually, in my mind, I will create a movie or a clip about El Mawlid, and I will explain you much more about it, but it will be in the video of religious performance, which you call it dance performance. Religious dance performance. Anyway, he went to El Mawlid and he saw a wonderful dancer. She came from somewhere. Of course, she was with her tribe. This tribe was a gypsy tribe. So he went watching what she will do or what she will perform. And of course, she danced wonderful and he felt in love with her. He started to feel that something very strange, feeling something like this. So he tried to be, or to contact her, but it was very difficult, of course, as usual with the gypsy tribes in Egypt. So he tried, and step by step, he, in the end, started to contact her, and started to talk with her, speak with her. And he told her that he loved her very much, but the problem is his family. His family, they are rich people, and they will refuse this relationship between both of them. So for this reason, he tried to let her pretend as she came from a high privileged family from the society. Her family, in the end, they agreed, because she came, as I told you, a high privileged family in the society. But her cousin from her tribe, he was fell in love with her. This is number one. Number two, because she is a dancer, for this reason she earned a lot of money and she can bring up much more money. For this reason he wanted to marry her too. He refused this as usual, and this is, by the way, normal with the gypsy tribes in Egypt. It's not so easy to marry someone from them. For this reason, he started to find some solution to meet this rich family of this boy, to tell them the truth. And in the end, he went to them, he met them, and he explained to them everything. It was a big disaster, and in the end, they went away of each other. I mean, the boy and the girl. That was the story. But in the end, after that, after the family know exactly that she is good girl and she can marry him and they can stay together and so they try to let them come back again to be together, but another disaster had happened, and that is exactly the main story of the movie. This movie very important for me, as I told you, because it was explained for us the way of the gypsy, how they live, the phenomenon, the culture, a lot of things during this time long ago with gypsy tribes in Egypt, especially the gypsy tribes who can enter Cairo or stay in Cairo or live in Cairo. So this is exactly the story of this movie, which is very important for me, as I told you, and I loved it very much. I felt that I'm the boy, this one, by the way. A lot of Egyptians, they feel the same when they saw this movie. I heard this from many young people long ago when they saw the boy with this wonderful costumes and girls and something like that, and went and saw a dancer and want to talk with her and. This is the story, and this is what I love to share with you too. And of course, she danced in this or during this film onto the Tamer Henna music. I loved it very much, and I'm still fell in love with this music very much. When I hear it, I feel that all my body move and wanted to dance on it. I think so. All of you too. I think something like that. If you love exactly really deep the Oriental dancing or belly dancing or this type of art. Another point I love to share with you too. What about her dance? Let me tell you, 99% of the Egyptian, as I heard from most of them, they love her dance very much. And I think all of you too. But in my opinion, something maybe very strange I love to share with you, which it is. Because she, as I said in the beginning, she studied, or her father tried to teach her dancing. It was not dancing actually, but it was some type of acrobatic steps or circus steps. For this reason, I smelled or I saw this type of feeling or this type of dance steps during her dance. I saw most 90%, 99% of her dance or her performance on the stage. I loved it very much, but I feel all the time that it is type or a type of acrobatic steps, not actually pure dance steps. Why? Because as I told you, as I explained you before in some videos of mine, that the work sometimes, not sometimes, the work infecting our dance steps, our dance steps influenced with our type of work. This is the most important point. For this reason, I saw this with inside her dancing or during her performance. But in this movie, I mean Tamer movie, what I saw from her is actually gypsy dance steps, very vulgar dance steps, tough dance steps, and very nice dance steps, something like that. It was something mixed between all of these feelings I saw, I felt, and I found. For this reason, when I see her dance or her performance, most of the time I'm looking for her legs, how she moves, how she is doing these steps, and I catch all the time her circus steps, I mean acrobatic steps. This is exactly what I saw, except this movie I told you about, Tamer movie, which I felt that this is exactly the tribe, this tribe or this gypsy tribe. So this is I love to share with you too, and I'm not push you also to think same as me, but this is my mind. After all these years of dance study or study this type of dances, I felt this, and I'm still feeling this. Even before I was studying dancing, I had the same feeling. But other side, I love her very much. I love her dance steps. I love her life, of course. She did a wonderful movies for us here in Egypt, and she changed some. And somehow she changed some of the way the people look at the dancers or look at the dance steps or the Oriental dancing and something like what I'm talking about. For this reason, I love to share all of this with you. And this is the story of Naima Akef. You can watch a lot of dance or performances of her on YouTube, of course, and you will love her very much. If you don't know her, actually now I explained a lot about her. And of course, I love very much if you like my videos and my information, share it with your friends and subscribe with me and stay with me. There are a lot of stories about this era and this time, I mean golden era and this time, and still more I will share with you. Thank you very much and see you again very soon.